Saxthorpe Farms and got some contracts done. Made pretty much 40 grand off of those, which was pretty nice. Got to run the new planter as well, which was also cool, which we're now going to refill and go off and plant some of our own fields. So I recorded this video a fair while ago, but I had not got the commentary done, so we are all kind of winging it as to what's going to happen next. So bunch of real world stuff going on, which is kind of meaning that I'm not spending as much time on this at the moment, which is why videos are a little bit more sporadic. It's a good word. Yeah, so anywho, first job, I want to in field 19. So this field has been ploughed. It's been slurried. We are going to run the cultivator over it. So we've got the big, I think it's a 15.7 meter cultivator. So we've got that on defend, and I'm going to run that over the field before we plant this one. I think this one is due to be sunflowers, I think. And in field 20, we're going to plant the corn for silage. So that's the plan. Impressively, the Deutz 8280 can run that big planter. It's slightly underpowered, but it has enough that it can do the job. So yeah, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool that it can tackle that and get things done. Yeah, I tell you, sometimes it amazes me how complicated adult life can be. You know, you spend so long as a kid wanting to be an adult, and you get to adulting, and adulting quite often sucks sometimes. You know, I'm going to stop talking about it now because I don't really want to go into detail. So anyway, let's get some corn planted. So we can do, and we will, once I remember to turn it on, automatic fertilizer application. So there is some rain in the forecast for later on, so we're just going to have to see how much we can get done. Not sure what I was looking for there. Anyway, we do also need to close the covers on the seed tanks, because otherwise, if it rains, the seed's going to get wet, like we just did. Yeah, first time using this for our field. So you have had it running through a contract. Yeah, I think I had the horse out as well, doing a soybean planting contract. I think that was what the other one was. So I don't have I don't remember writing notes when I edited this footage. So yeah, I had planned to do this much sooner, but anywho, a bit of a weave to get going there, but it should be pretty quick planting this field. Yeah, so at this point, I think proceed. I have fertilizer turned off, which was not intentional. We will be coming back over this field though to try and get perfect fertilization, if I remember. We've got on the, I think on the 7230 we have the Azaria sensors, the passive sensors, so we will be able to do that with the sprayer. And I haven't yet looked for a bigger sprayer, so yeah, that is a job still to be done. I don't think there are any 3-point mounted ones that will do the job, so we'll probably be switching up to a trailed one. Yeah, don't do tram lines in things like corn. It grows in rows anyway. You just drive between the rows. That'd be a name for a podcast, wouldn't it? Between the rows. Yeah. Never actually listened to it. I think that's what Millennial Farmers podcast is called. I've not seen a Millennial Farmer video in forever. I think that's truly the YouTube algorithm working, because subscribe to his channel, but don't watch his channel, so YouTube doesn't recommend them. That's how it works. Yeah, so I keep talking about it. I still haven't decided what I'm going to do with the field over there. I reckon I'll just end up harvesting it with the weeds that are in there, and that'll be that. I haven't gone back and looked at the numbers yet. So I do have a bunch of looking at numbers to do. So we'll get to that. And actually, what are we up to here? So just picked up a few more fertilizing contracts, and we're getting some of them going with Courseplay. Yeah, so my kind of game-changing mods video got a lot of views, but based on some comments and talking to some people, I clearly missed a few. So there's probably going to be a follow-up to that at some point. Yeah, I've got a fairly long list of things that some of which I use and didn't include for some reason. Well, I know the reason. I compiled the list pretty quickly by looking in a Let's Play mod folder, so which I have many of, and the one that I looked in didn't have some of the mods, or I don't use them anymore, but I do, have in the past really like them. Things like Lease to Own. I'm typically not using lately. That would be really good on here, actually. Although we can't do any leasing, so Lease to Own doesn't work. So, but yeah. I stopped using it on the Glenlarthon save because it found like it was making things too easy, because I could just lease to own everything and then buy it when it was cheap, or just get rid of it if we didn't want it anymore. So yeah, a mod that I've not run in a while, but definitely a very cool mod. There were a few others as well. There's a bunch of them that I've got on my little list, but it's on my laptop, not on this computer. So yeah. Valley of the Old Farm. I might get around to making a video on that this week. I don't know. So there wasn't last week. Things were a bit patchy last week in general. This week's turning out to be more stressful than last week so far. So yeah, it's one of those ones that I find quite hard because I can't just like play on my laptop. So we'll see where we go with that one. We'll see where we go. Yeah, no promises. And to be honest, beyond today, no promises on when videos will come. Because life. It's interesting. Before I started doing this, I was listening to a Mr. CDP video and a SnowRunner video, and he was talking about the fact that I'm watching his old SnowRunner videos from when SnowRunner released, because I'm enjoying playing that game, and he was talking about the fact that making videos on SnowRunner is easy because you just pick it up and play it. And that's a little bit like the difference between FS and Timberborn. And I try to not make it that way. So I try to make it so when I make an FS video, I just load the game up and do what comes next. But there often is, prep. Videos can take several hours of gameplay versus, like with Mr. CP, we play SnowRunner for an hour, you get a video. And that's sort of why the Glenlarthon video earlier this week was just me playing the game for half an hour, and I got done what I got done. And maybe I could do that for a bit. I don't know. It does have the limitation that I'm not always at this computer, I don't always have microphone, etc. to do that kind of thing. But yeah, maybe I need to make that change. But just generally at the moment, things are going to be a bit more random as to when stuff drops. But things will improve. They always do, hopefully. It just might take a long time. So. Right, so we've got running at the moment. We've got us in the 8280 planting corn. We've got Defent about halfway through cultivating that field, and we've got the 7230, which is now about halfway through a fertilizing contract. So I'm picking up the fertilizing contracts because we need more money to buy a grass field, And I think probably it's going to get us to a point where we can buy one without having to take another loan out. We've still got some loans, but not having to have another new one would be nice. The other thing that I just thought of, but has literally just leapt out of my brain, which is so annoying. Grassfield loan contracts. Nope, it's gone. It's literally jumped out of my brain and run away. So, I've got some things I'm working on. So I have mentioned the multiplayer server is now available for people through Discord. It's on Fairhead. You need to be either patron, YouTube channel member, channel supporter, which is kind of a weird role because that's either patron, YouTube channel member, or people who have helped me out in some way significantly, or level 5 in the kind of chattiness on Discord. So not too difficult to achieve, but yeah, and the guys on there would really appreciate some help. There's sort of 2 or 3 of them doing a lot of work. So if you're interested, jump on there, I guess. And we're pretty much finished with this. I'm also working on another mods video, and there's some information about that on the Discord server. But I'm going to say not a lot more than that because it's a very cool video, a very cool concept, and I don't want to give the idea away particularly too wide. So if you're a creator and you want to find out, I guess you could go join my Discord, but yeah, might work on that video this weekend. That's quite a nice little easy-ish one. It involves diving into number analysis for me because like you don't have to do it, but I will. So that kind of is a nice distraction to jump into the math and look at how things work, because that's what I like. So field planted, contract finished, so that's pretty good. These discounts that we keep getting popping up are through better contracts, and the nice thing about those is they stack. So even if we're there, it says we're at the maximum discount, when we buy a field, that resets the discount, but any that we had banked, I think, get added back on. I think that's how it worked from the few times we've brought land. So the nice thing is, as we get where we're owning more land, we will be in a position where we will still be getting discounts because there'll be less contracts. But actually, that's the thing that jumped out of my brain. So the other reason that I'm doing these contracts is I'm still really curious about whether you make more money at owning a field and farming it and selling the product, or doing the contracts on it. And so there's a few fields on here now where I've seeded or planted and done first stage fertilization. From that, we can work out value of 2 stages of fertilization, because the contract shouldn't really change in price. And because I'm videoing the ends, I can get information about seed used and stuff like that. So if we can get a harvesting contract on one of those, and then maybe a ploughing or cultivating, that'll give us kind of the whole cycle. So yeah, and that's one that does interest me, as to whether you make more money by not owning the field and working it through contracts, or whether it's flat out better to own it. That's obviously going to vary a little bit because we're using precision farming, so the amount of consumables that you would use would be maybe different on a contract field versus your own field, depending on the crop type. But it'll give me an idea. And I think it's the best way to try and collect the data, because you can't force contracts on fields that I'm aware of to be able to get contracts that cover a whole cycle of a crop. So I can do the owning the field cycle. That's easy. What I can't do is the contract side of it. So hopefully through doing this stuff, I'll get the information I need from that side, and then I can just go away and do the do-it-yourself bit and see if that makes a difference. Yeah, I remembered. Yay me. So yeah, sunflowers going in here, and because this has been cultivated, we're getting the nice row-ish planting texture, which will get destroyed when we roll it, but hey, it's what it is. And I was sending the fert spreader back and bringing over the weeder, and I really like the way auto drive. It's a combination of how this map's got my own auto drive network on it. It's a combination of how I've set that up and just how auto drive knows to wait when there's somewhere where they can pass versus not, because most of that road is a single two-way track with some passing points that I've put in which go to split out and go to one ways. So I really like the way auto drive will hold one vehicle in that position while it waits for the other one to come along the route, and it's really clever. Again, because we're doing sunflowers, I'm not pro-seeding, so I'm not putting tram lines in these fields. I don't know why I don't, I just choose not to. It feels like crops that are in rows, you shouldn't need to do that. I guess the other thing is this year we won't be planting any root crops. So I brought in the sales, the ridger for the new crops, but we don't have any spare fields at the moment, and I don't have any harvesting or planting kit for them. So yeah, we're not going to be doing any of those this year, maybe next year. Partly because I don't particularly want to go down the KS6B route that I always use for root crop harvesting on here. It would be nice to be able to afford something bigger, probably a modded one, possibly a Mark Thor, but not set up to be stupidly quick and stuff, but just because it has capacity versus the ones that are in the DLC, which don't. With fields as big as we have on here, don't want to be doing boxes and don't really want to be doing the harvester that has no capacity. So yeah, that's kind of my thought, that we'll do a modded harvester of some sort, but not the one that I always use. That's kind of the point. So anywho, it started raining, so that's put a pay to feeding and rolling and weeding and everything else. So I did have Courseplay running the weeder to get that started, I think. So we're going to do some feeding instead. Had to bring over a lorry full of maize silage from the main farm because we'd used it all, and we're about to use the last of our bales, I think, our grass bales. So whatever we put in now is going to be the last TMR until I can pick up a silage contract for grass. So we'll be down to feeding, find your words, man. We'll be down to feeding maize silage, I think, is the only thing that we can feed to keep the cows going. That's not great from a wanting to sell them point of view, but I'm optimistic that what we put in here will keep them going until at the start of May. We can sell the beef off. Maybe we don't buy any more beef until we get more grass silage. Yeah, that's kind of where my thinking is at the moment. So that's the last of the grass silage, 2,090 litres. I'm going to put in a bit of straw just to pad it out. I've been doing that because we've got a lot of straw. I think we've still got quite a lot of maize silage as well, so that's not a problem. But yeah, and I didn't end up buying any more sorghum to mix in, so we've been doing a mix that's grass silage, straw and maize silage at the moment, because that's what we have a lot of. So apart from grass silage, we have none of now. So yeah, I could buy some, but and if we need to, we might buy a couple of bales, because that'll keep us going for a pretty good time. But ideally, in May, I'll pick up a grass field and a grass silage contract, so that we can get some grass silage bales instantly from the excess from the contract, and we can start some grass silage fermenting from our own grass. We also have, I've put in the pasture now, so we can also move the cows out to that, because the grass will be reasonably well grown to feed them. So that's the other option we have. Oh yeah, you can see no grass silage bales left. But yeah, I did put in the custom placeable that I mentioned. Someone did ask about releasing that. At the moment, no. Mainly because my brain can't cope with that kind of stuff at the moment. So, right, let's get the cows fed. You can kind of see where some stuff got dumped in the field. But yeah, we've got we might have enough to last through until May. We've got 1.5 more days, basically. There might be enough with how many cows we have now. Having reduced significantly from when we were just trying to boost the cash to buy the seeder. So, and the other thing is that will give us a nice bit of extra income for buying the field, or actually it's going to pay the loan payment. So, the other thing we're going to do is sell some of the manure. So these placeables, the manure pit is the wheelbarrow there. Holds 100,000 litres. It's a big old wheelbarrow, and we're going to go sell it. So now, please bear in mind, it's a very long time since I have tried to sell stuff at a BGA that is not a BGA I own. The BGA on here costs over £1 million. So it's the only manure sell point built into the map, and I didn't realise that we wouldn't be able to put loads in. So we're going to sell some manure. I should have been doing this earlier on, but I wasn't. So anywho, we'll get through it. Obviously, because it's an own map challenge, we will eventually own this, but for now, we don't. So yeah, I'm going to say thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button. Comments, questions, suggestions below. And yeah, please bear with while real world stuff is causing me a lot of extra stress and taking away my motivation to do this. So things will improve, and I'm not really going to talk about it any more than that. Just then there will be less videos. So just looking through here, to look for manure and just the BGA is the only option. See ya.